The whole thing is called tawaf. The first time you walk around the Kaaba, the first time, not the seventh time, the first time is called shout. Shout. So when Dr. Lorenzo Turner did his study in the 1940s, dealing with the linguistics of the Sea Island peoples of Georgia, and they noticed how the people used to walk around this altar here. Shout. He said, no, not shout. Not shout. He said, this is an Arabic word. This is an Arabic word. Shout is the first time after you come. He did his little homework because he knew they were Muslims. Shout is the first time after you make your first one. That's shout. The Muslim slaves, brothers and sisters, particularly in the Georgia Sea Islands, in South Carolina, in Louisiana particularly, struggled to keep their Islamic identity. They struggled to keep it. In the Caribbean, since the Muslims were in the majority, since the Africans were in the majority, they had a better chance of keeping it. A better chance. So this Islam, brothers and sisters, this Islam actually prepared them for the slave condition. That should sound familiar. Because developed this song which expresses their commitment to an armed struggle for freedom. Liberation theology, African slaves, Christians, using their Christianity to free themselves, that came from the Muslims. That came from the Muslims. So-called liberation theology. This Islam, brothers and sisters, is serious business. I want to really end what this sister says in Servants of Allah. It's beautiful the way she ended it. And I'll end it in that way too, inshallah. Turbaned men, veiled women, their prayer beads around their necks, chopped cotton, cut cane, rolled tobacco from sunup to sundown. Like other slaves, they were beaten, whipped, cursed, raped, maimed, and humiliated. They saw their families torn apart and their loved ones killed. In the midst of abuse and contempt, they continued to pray, fast, be charitable, read, write on the sand, help one another, sing their lonesome tunes, and display pride in themselves, their religion, and their culture. The African Muslims may have been in the Americas, the slaves of Christian masters, but their minds were free. They were the servants of Allah. That's our history. That's our legacy. What we do in the 21st century has got to be based on that legacy. What we do in the 21st century has got to be rooted in that legacy. It's got to be rooted in it. It's no coincidence, brothers and sisters, that all this information is coming out right now. Right now. At a time when Islam is growing among us in unprecedented proportions. I don't know if y'all can really appreciate that. Look at it historically. There has been no other time in the 20th century that Islam, the Quran and the Sunnah, has grown so much than right now, than the period that we're living in right now. If you think that Allah is causing this to happen so that we can become Muslims and then basically try to assimilate into the system, you don't know your history. You don't know your history. That's not why Allah is causing it to grow. Allah is causing it to grow because we have to understand that Islam, the Quran,